Thank you. Did you ever hear the old fable about the man who was riding across the desert at night, and as he was crossing a dry riverbed, a voice came out of the darkness ordering him to halt? The voice then said, "Now get off your horse or camel or whatever it was he was riding," and the man got off, and the voice said, "Pick up some gravel from the riverbed." Well, the man did, and then the voice said, "Now mount and ride on. In the morning you'll be both glad and sorry." Well, when it became light enough, the rider looked at what he had picked up in the riverbed and discovered it wasn't gravel at all. It was a handful of precious gems, and as the voice had said, he was both glad and sorry. Glad he had picked up a few, and sorry he hadn't picked up more. Well, like most fables, this one is based on human nature, and I guess it's particularly true here in America. I think we all realize that we're living in the richest country the world has ever known. As a matter of fact, we're right in the middle of the golden era man has dreamed of and hoped for since the days of Pythagoras, Plato, and Aristotle. The American worker, compared to the incomes earned in most countries, particularly those on the shady side of the Iron Curtain, is a wealthy man. Compare his income and his standard of living to even Americans of 50 years ago, and he's a regular tycoon. But most modern American families are like the man in the fable who picked up a few precious stones thinking they were gravel. They're glad to have such a high standard of living, but about 95% of them wind up sorry because they never woke up to the fact that financial independence has nothing at all to do with the money you're paid, but only with the money you save. Out of 100 young American men who all start even at age 25, 40 years later, when they would be 65, only one out of the original 100 is well-to-do. 4 are financially independent for life, and the rest, the 95%, didn't make it. Now, this wouldn't sound so bad maybe in some famine-ridden, undernourished, and depressed country, but this terrible situation is going on right here in the richest country on earth. The average American income is something around $6,000 a year. The average working man works for 40 years. If he saved only 10 cents out of every dollar he earned for himself and his family, he'd save $24,000 not counting interest, which would practically double it. It's a little-known fact that regardless of what a man happens to do for a living, he can be financially independent for life by the time he's 65 if he'll only give a dime out of every dollar to the forgotten man, himself, and the forgotten family, his own. Here's an interesting little test you can make. Take the number of years you've been married, times your income, times 10%. That's how much you should have in a permanent, never-touched savings program for your later years. If it comes out right or better, you belong to the top 5% of the people in this country. If it's less, you're in the 95% boat, and this is not a good boat to be in. As old Ben Franklin said one time, a long time ago, the way to wealth is as plain as the way to market. Waste neither time nor money, but make the best use of both. Until next time, when I think I'll have something you'll be interested in, this is Earl Nightingale reminding you that unless you're saving at least 10% of your gross income, you are probably making your most serious mistake. You're paying on the mortgage, the car, the refrigerator, and you can't very well duck the tax man. Just make sure you're not cheating the person you're going to be in a few years. Thank you.